pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did you know?
What?
An eagle can spot a rabbit from more than a mile away.
Hi, I'm Marissa. I'm one of the youth coaches here with New Bedford Community Rowing, and we are here doing C-Lab for a bunch of the kids, the 9th graders, and they've been learning a lot about crew and how to row, and they've really come a long way since the beginning. A lot of kids maybe not into athletics now have seen a different style almost, and it's more of a team than an individual sport, so it's really brought them together. So it's been a great time.
I like to touch the back. I don't want to go too hard on my hair. Exactly. I'm touching the girl in there. Sure, it's my chocolate. There. No, sir. Sir. See, I don't want it. Tell me what a satellite is.
Alright, you guys try to figure out which end is. So this is, remember, this is the back end right here. Who wants to come right in there?
Stay close to the mast. And then you guys
about what this waterway is all about. Can I assume you all know why we call it the Cape Cod Canal and not the Cape Cod Canal?
Never been here.
We only have to do one.
We only have to do one. Oh, yes! Yes! I found something better than that. Okay.
Yeah, the mossy stuff.
So this is telling me what it is, and then throw it back in there. Yeah, so it was like 2.3.
My name is Jeffrey Osich. I'm the Executive Secretary for the town of Fairhaven, and today we spent a few minutes with 9th graders from C-Lab touring the Fairhaven wind turbine site abutting the wastewater treatment plant. We spent a few minutes talking about two 1.5 megawatt units designed and constructed in China and shipped over to this country that were erected abutting the wastewater treatment plant and are generating just about 6 million kilowatts a year of electricity that is being used to offset some of the costs of electricity for the town of Fairhaven. We also spent a few minutes talking about solar, which we have both located on top of the Board of Public Works building and one of the wastewater treatment plant buildings. And we spent a couple of minutes also talking about sewage treatment plant and a digester system that takes the sewage and generates the methane gas that runs a generator that also will generate electricity. So renewable energies was the purpose of this field trip by the students from C-Lab.
Quick, quick, quick. Alright, put Dino up. Lights off, Thomas. Bring it. Let's go.
Dino, turtle, Dino, turtle, Dino, turtle, Dino, turtle, Dino, turtle, Dino, turtle. Yeah! Come on, Dino.
Nice job, guys. Can't be bad. Come on, kid.
I don't feel bad for the frog. I still want it.
That flavor now for me for ice cream.
Poke it.
What? Poke it in. No, thank you.
Okay. Now, if you go to the next to the last page on your paper.
Can we come back and continue? That was great. Oh, guys, go over this section. Tiny hands. Oh, that's so gross.
You're lifting that from your
I would recommend it.
Okay, now, yep. It's too far. Oh, you shimmy it. It might fall. It's just view again. It's not working.
So, what you're going to do
I want to see this.
is you're going to take your shirt up back here. You're gonna take your shirt and you need to squeegee out as much of the excess as possible. Okay? And then there are elastic bands.
Now the water is coming out pretty much clear.
Hello, I am Meteoric Mike from Mad Science of Southern Mass in Rhode Island. We come in here to C-Lab a few times a year to do some experiments with the kids, teach them about geology, about weather, about pressure, air pressure, water pressure, and what have you. And we have a lot of fun with hands-on activities and experiments where the kids actually get to get their hands dirty in some real science.
What C-Lab means to me. How can you tell when you make a life-changing decision? At the time, it just feels as though you are making an ordinary choice, unaware of how it would eventually influence you. Perhaps your decision only becomes life-changing when you allow it to do so. I will never be able to pinpoint the time when I first allowed the C-Lab program to impact me so greatly. But I am certain that the lessons I have learned here, both morally and intellectually, will last with me lifelong. I vaguely remember how I found my way here, but I know I wanted to join so I could challenge myself. After being accepted, I started my first year of C-Lab in the 4th grade. It was all new faces and names, new surroundings and new friendships. I hadn't known it then, but it was also the beginning of my new overflowing fondness of the summer program. We were given a massive binder filled with papers and definitions and photos of what we would learn, which I still use as a reference today. That summer was filled with tornado tubes, sand art, homemade barometers, and typing. When I exited the doors at the end of the summer, I knew I had enjoyed those 6 weeks and allowed myself to be influenced by the program because I was already longing for return of summer, the return of C-Lab. Throughout my time here, I have explored a very diverse assortment of sciences. We would vary from studying oceanography to engineering to weather patterns. C-Lab meant a way for me to explore and learn so much to round myself. I found myself enjoying all the projects that we created around these topics. I loved making the volcanoes in 5th grade, the the planting nets in 7th, and the sea perch in 9th. Along with these in-school projects were the ones we worked on by ourselves, which I especially loved because it gave me a free range of creativity. In the 6th grade, I found myself working hard over projects on thunderstorms and tornadoes, which I fashioned to be 3D, though I worked on it until late in the night. In the 7th grade, I made a project on the prehistoric timeline, which I created to look like a raptor. Of course, there were other things that we did. I particularly enjoyed the waterfront activities like swimming, snorkeling, sailing, and crew. I loved that aspect of Sea Lab. We watched hurricanes and dissected an assortment of animals and traveled for different trips. Over the course of these 6 years, all these small projects and trips have brought together my grade and created so many friendships. I believe Mrs. Bourgeois when she says that we will still see each other in the future. The teachers here taught us more than curriculum. They taught us lessons about character and worth, even if it were subtle, where the teachers learned lessons from the projects and from themselves. I won't mention specific teachers because I have taken away equally from each year's amazing work, although I left each year with a new lesson that I learned from Sea Lab. The 4th grade taught me that trying new things is rewarding down the line. I realized that scientists can have humor in the 5th grade. 6th grade told me that widening your horizons was accomplishing. In 7th grade, I learned that procrastination won't get you far in the world. In 8th grade, I grasped that it is worth it to go the extra mile. Finally, in 9th grade, I realized the impact that Summer Sea Lab had on my life and how much I am going to miss it. The question truly is, what does this program mean to me? Everyone I have met here has given me something to walk away with. Sea Lab means so much to me. It is one of the few things that I have allowed to impact me, to shape me. When I leave this place, I am certain that I will look at the world more perplexed and in awe when I arrived. Mrs. Bourgeois and all the staff have helped me recognize the paths that are set up for my future, have taught me lessons that have impacted my character, and gave me a pretty good reason to spend my last 6 summers in a classroom. It has taken me a while to conjure a correct definition of this summer school that I will miss, but I believe I have brought one together. Sea Lab means a place that opens its arms wide to the inquisitive and magnifies their dreams and passion.
I came across a very interesting scholarship application by a young man attending Harvard University. And that young man was applying for his last and final scholarship from the ladies' branch. His family had served the fishing industry in New Bedford valiantly, and this young man, as part of his essay to apply for the scholarship, stated that he was interested in economics and politics, and he wanted to give back to the city of New Bedford. Well, that was sometimes in the 1990s, and as I read this, I was very impressed with the writing skill and the sincerity of this young man, and I said to myself, I wonder who this could be. And who the young man is our current mayor, Mayor John Mitchell, who is giving back to the city of New Bedford twice, thrice-fold. It is my pleasure to introduce Mayor John Mitchell.
Mrs. Bourgeois, I'm so glad you didn't break out the letter and read it to everybody. It would have been really embarrassing.
That would have been nice.
And I think the secret is that, for sure, we have well-motivated students and families who attend Sea Lab, but there's also something else, something in the secret sauce, and that is what happens here again and again and again is the kindling of a love of learning. if you come to C-Lab, you figure out at some point that learning can be fun, delivered to you, but ultimately what you get out of your education is what you put into it. If you sink yourselves into it, if you stretch yourself, if you push yourself a little bit further, you'll get more out of it. Congratulations on a great summer session. I hope with the time remaining in your summer you have some more fun. Continue to read, continue to learn, continue to push yourself a little bit, and take a little bit of C-Lab along the way with you. Thanks, everybody.
To the people in this room. She's been in the district now 14 months. Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Pia Durkin.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here today, and I want to speak a few minutes about opportunity. It is great looking out and seeing our kids and members of the community here to celebrate what our students have accomplished. Technology, engineering, and through all of that, to be able to learn in middle school and get excited, so when we get to our high school, we will look at 5 majors, one of which students will choose at the end of 9th grade. Either it be in finance, informational technology, the health sciences, engineering, or arts and humanities. So all of you here are laying the groundwork for that and making sure that you're being successful, not only with the teachers you have today, but for those you'll have tomorrow. Thank you.
The C-Lab community is extremely delighted that Dr. David Gallo has agreed to be our 46th commencement speaker. May I present to you at this time, Dr. David Gallo.
Thank you very much. And I want to actually start by repeating something that George Hampson said, is that the idea of teamwork. Steve Aubrey was an amazing person, and I'm always marveled by the fact that the true heroes, to me, on any one of my expeditions that I've been on, are people whose names you never hear about. You know, they're the Greg Packards and Mark Dennett's and the like, and the Steve Aubreys that secretly, quietly do their job and follow their passions. And without them, most of the things that we discover out at sea, you never hear about, because they're so critical to making an expedition happen. And in that regard, you know, there's a formula, to me, 3 things that you need. You need technology, especially if you're working in the deep sea. You need technology, and I've seen a lot of it here in this building. You need the right team to put together, because it is a team effort. You can't go by yourself out to explore the deep sea. And then it requires a plan, so you've got to have good planning too. And you put all 3 things together, you've got a pretty good shot at coming back with something, what you went out without for. You know, I'm really honored to be here, and I spoke, I think maybe about 20, we're trying to figure out, it was about 20 years ago when I first spoke to C-Lab, and it was in the old building, at the old base, in the tiny little room. We're all crammed in there. And one thing I learned back then is that when you get an email or a phone call from Simone, just say yes, right off the bat. So when we first got into this world of exploration, when I did, we would typically go out to sea from something like San Diego and head south toward Easter Island, and we'd turn on the instruments, and every single day would be a new mountain range on the bottom of the ocean. So we were in fact finding new landscapes, but to me it's not that. I agree with Marcel Proust that it's having new eyes. To me means now that we have this new technology, we can look at the Earth, you know, with our computer technology, with our telescopes, you can see infinity, you can see the edges of the universe. You can see the infinitesimal, you can look into elements and look at the atomic structure, the nuclear structure, and beyond. We can see the incredibly fast, and we can stop a lightning bolt in its path and walk around it in 3D. And we can speed up the continents crashing together so we can watch mountains being formed. So we have this incredible opportunity as a species to see our world like it's never before. The trick is, what do we do with that information? Having new eyes. And the hope is that we take all that information and use it the right way, so we start to look at this world differently. It's not an endless resource. It's one that we need to understand and learn to use wisely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Gallo.